Sparklings! So today I wanted to do the movie list I didn't get the opportunity to do last year, but figured I would do as a special holiday surprise, which is Christmas and midwinter based horror movies. So there's actually kind of a lot. A couple of these on the list I haven't seen, but figured they'd be included anyway. But here we go. So the first one, and probably one of the more notable ones, I've talked about this movie in other films, which is Bob Clark's Black Christmas, with, what's her name? Olivia Hussey and Margot Kidder, featuring a serial killer in his sorority house over Christmas. It's probably one of the founding films of the slasher genre prior to John Carpenter's Halloween. Definitely worth a watch. This one's very good. And what makes it a little bit more amusing is that the director of this film also did A Christmas Story in 1983, which I'm significantly less partial to and am kind of whatever on, but I do like this one. The remake from 2006, which yes, I do own because I think I got it for $1, is entertaining and had potential, but suffered very severely from studio interference, which is a great misfortune because it had potential, but it came out during the torture porn boom and all of the potential went down the drain with studio interference. So this movie's a hot mess, but it's fun, and there's some things in it that I like the idea of, even if the execution was rather poor. So watch it or don't watch it, that's entirely up to you. Another one is Silent Night, Deadly Night, which was actually filmed originally and came out in '84, about 15 miles from where I grew up. Really weird. So this film is actually rather infamous. It is known because the marketing campaign was ushering in a killer Santa. Mothers disapproved of it, and it ended up getting yanked out of theaters 2 weeks in. So it's known for its infamy more than actual good storytelling. It's definitely an entertaining slasher film and spawned multiple sequels, none of which I've seen. I have seen the weird, bad remake from 2008-ish, Silent Night, that I have no explanation for why it happened at all, because there's similarities, but overall it's just a bad, weird remake that doesn't even have enough redeeming features for me to ever watch it again. But this one's definitely worth a watch. I mean, it's got all the classic 80s slasher in the very interesting and creative deaths and lots of nudity for whatever reason. It's kind of a trip, but it's worth the watch. Another one that I haven't had the opportunity to see yet, but is on Netflix and I've heard mixed reviews on, but enough positive ones I'm willing to give it a shot when I get the chance, is A Christmas Horror Story that came out this year. I don't know enough about it to give you a whole rundown on it. Another one from the 80s is Christmas Evil, which I've heard about, and it sounds, from my perspective, pretty lackluster standard slasher fare. Another slasher would be Don't Open Till Christmas, which is also from the 80s. And then this one isn't even a horror movie, and the only reason why I included it on here is, one, I grew up with that animated Boris Karloff narrated half-hour Christmas special of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. My mother's a Seuss fan, and then remember when this movie came out. And then don't watch it for a very long period of time, rewatch it semi-recently, and get amazed and incredibly pleased to discover the makeup effects are by Rick Baker, who's one of my favorite makeup artists, known for example, An American Werewolf in London. So that's kind of a bonus. This one's not horror, it's mostly kid-friendly-ish. And I just include it because of that little bit of trivia of a horror makeup legend doing the makeup for it. Another recent release, this one came out last year, is Krampus from Michael Dougherty, who is known for doing Trick or Treat, which I cannot sing enough praises about. This one is a very good horror comedy. It does pretty well in levels of creep factor, comedy, and violence for a PG-13. Highly recommend seeing it. I don't really want to give any spoilers if you haven't seen it. It pretty much goes sort of kind of how you'd expect it to go. Really good cast, really good practical effects. Definitely a fun time. Totally recommend it. Another one I haven't had the opportunity to see, but did suggest, just on general principle, mostly for ridiculousness, it would be Jack Frost. Another one I believe is foreign and I've heard mixed to no reviews on is Saint. Another very good horror one that is foreign, I think it's from Norway, that I don't own a copy of but thought was excellent, was Rare Exports. If you haven't seen it, you totally should. It's amazing. and I recommend it to anybody who likes horror movies, foreign movies, and Christmas-based movies of any kind. It's really good. My favorite Christmas movie of all time is Gremlins. This was my childhood nightmare fuel. When you watch this when you're 6 and you watch Stripe die horrifically, it's a little traumatizing. However, this is an incredibly fun movie. It's been a part of my life for a good 15, 20 years, and I had to mention it. I also am a big Joe Dante fan in general, and he will get a director spotlight at some point in time. I figured it really needed to be on this list. And then there, as a couple of bonus, another horror comedy anthology, which is on Netflix as well and came out this year, is Holidays. There is a segment towards the end for Christmas, which is the main reason I figured it'd be featured. I'd also just let you know that it is a very entertaining little movie, and I do recommend watching it. And on the not so horror, but still figured it's unconventional and horror fans can like action flicks too, would be Die Hard, just on general principle. I know enough people that call that their favorite Christmas movie. I figured I'd toss it in there. It's an eclectic little list, but I hope it makes for a good holiday surprise. Till next time, Darklings.